U.S. Central Command just released the following statement. As part of ongoing international efforts to respond to increased Houthi destabilizing and illegal activities in the region, on January 22nd, at approximately 11:59 p.m. Sana'a time, U.S. Central Command forces alongside U.K. armed forces and with the support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands, conducted strikes on 8 Houthi targets in Iranian-backed Houthi terrorist-controlled areas of Yemen. These strikes from this multilateral coalition targeted areas in Houthi-controlled Yemen used to attack international merchant vessels and U.S. Navy ships in the region. The targets included missile systems and launchers, air defense systems, and deeply buried weapons storage facilities. These strikes are intended to degrade Houthi capability to continue their reckless and unlawful attacks on U.S. and U.K. ships, as well as international commercial shipping in the Red Sea, Bab al-Mandeb Strait, and the Gulf of Aden. These strikes are separate and distinct from the multinational freedom of navigation actions performed under Operation Prosperity Guardian. More on what that means in a second. According to the Pentagon, the coalition used a combination of Tomahawk Land Attack Missiles, TLAMs, fired from guided missile cruiser Philippine Sea, guided missile destroyers Mason and Gravely, and the submarine Florida, and GPS-guided bombs dropped from F/A-18E Super Hornets, and anti-radiation missiles shot from EF-18G Growlers attached to Carrier Air Wing 3 aboard the Dwight D. Eisenhower, and U.K. RAF Typhoons based at Akrotiri, Cyprus, flying 1,300 miles each way to drop precision munitions on targets as well. The Typhoons were supported by Voyager tankers. The RAF's exact route of flight is unknown, however, Yemen can be reached from Cyprus by only flying over Israel. CENTCOM released some B-roll of aircraft launching from the flight deck of Ike, and analysis of that footage provides a little more intel beyond what the Pentagon provided. First, we see a 2-seat Super Hornet from the Swordsman of Strike Fighter Squadron 32, configured for the airborne tanker role. No weapons, but 4 external drop tanks, and a buddy store with the hose and drogue assembly on the centerline station. Next is a Growler from the Zappers of Electronic Attack Squadron 130 with an AN/ALQ-218 passive receiver used to find enemy radars on the wingtip, and a high-speed anti-radiation missile, better known as a HARM missile, on the outermost station, an AN/ALQ-99 active jamming pod used to blind enemy radars next to that, and a drop tank just inside of that. The HARM missile is used to take out surface-to-air missile sites and other tracking radars. And the last launch on this footage is another Swordsman, this one loaded with a Joint Direct Attack Munition, or JDAM, a GPS-guided bomb, and a centerline drop tank. We can't see what's on the opposite wing of any of these jets, but it's probably the same loadout on both wings. The strike was the 8th conducted by coalition forces since the Houthis began launching missiles and drones at commercial and military ships in November, but only the 2nd involving tactical aircraft, the first happening on January 11th. The Pentagon emphasized that the target set was selected this time specifically to avoid escalation beyond those related to capability to conduct maritime attacks. U.S. Central Command said some of the sites were near the capital of Sana'a. Arab media outlet Al Jazeera reported that Houthi sources said bombs had hit the capital's Al-Dailami air base, as well as locations in what they call the governorates of Taiz, Al-Baida, and Hajjah. While the Department of Defense claims to be avoiding escalation in the region, they are creating more structure. Strike missions now fall under what they're reportedly calling Operation Poseidon Archer, and missions dedicated to the safe passage of commercial shipping are part of the previously established Operation Prosperity Guardian. Since launching their first missile in the current conflict, the Houthis have claimed that their attacks are intended to, quote, stop the genocide in Gaza, end quote, and they are only targeting shipping heading for Israel. However, Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh recently stated that Houthi attacks have been indiscriminate and that, quote, what's happening in Gaza is, despite what the Houthis say, very different from what they're doing. 50 nations, some of which have no geographic location or connection to the Middle East, are being attacked by the Houthis, end quote. In a related development, and as a follow-up to our previous reporting, CENTCOM just identified the 2 SEALs lost at night and in rough seas while boarding a dhow carrying Iranian weapons components bound for Yemen. The 2 lost were Navy Special Warfare Operator First Class Christopher J. Chambers and Navy Special Warfare Operator Second Class Nathan Gage Ingram. Let us never forget their sacrifice as their shipmates continue with the effort to keep the sea lanes open. And lastly, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was seen outside of his hospital room at Walter Reed for the first time since he was admitted on January 1st with abdominal pains related to his prostate cancer surgery a week earlier. Today, he attended a Ukraine contact group meeting virtually, but reportedly he didn't mention anything about his health during that meeting. As we have before, we wish him well as he continues to recover from his cancer surgery and the complications that have followed that. More on this volatile situation in the Middle East and elsewhere as the information becomes available. So if you're not already a subscriber, become one so you don't miss anything going forward. And if you'd like to help support the channel, please consider using the super thanks, the heart icon below, or become a patron at patreon.com/WardCarroll. And in the meantime, I look forward to talking to you again very soon.